Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, from Djibouti channels. It's the English news. We're gonna start it with the headlines of our editions. Change mentalities to innovate and undertake with a ceremony organized in the University of Djibouti. And continental news, resumptions of the anti-Ebola campaign. Welcome if you join us of Djibouti in Djibouti channels, educating, innovating and doing, with the theme of a conference held early this morning in the amphitheater of the University of Djibouti. This conference, under the aegis of Minister of Finance Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, with the Minister of Higher Education Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, gathered immediately the students seeking on science in the field of robotics and innovation, but also members of the government, including the Minister of Justice Mr. Momin Ahmed Sheikh, as well as the Minister of Decentralization Mr. Aramis, the representative of the World Bank Mr. Atu Sek, an anonymous incentive to innovations sign that does not deceive nor room is free, and none was released during the 2 hours of conference. This lecture was given by the Professor Sidin Dao of the University of Nebraska Lincoln and Ben Kubaski, entrepreneur, author and also teacher. The purpose of this conference was to raise awareness, but also to encourage students to opt for innovation in the field of science, technology, engineering and mathematics for sustainable development, and to show how to stimulate young people, students, the sense of surpassing oneself, and also the dominance and of artificial intelligent leadership. And finally, the initiative, the ambitions to make them turn and make love science and technology, and to make more attractive and more accessible technical educations. As for Ben Kubasik, he made a presentation of the future Center of Entrepreneurship and Leadership that will soon open this door. His presentations was also intended to stimulate the entrepreneurial test. The Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nabil, in his speech spoke of the main objective of this conference, which is part of a sustainable growth of the Republic of Djibouti, also to encourage students to opt for innovation in the field of science, technology, engineering, mathematics for sustainable development, and to show how to stimulate young people to gain the sense of surpassing oneself, and also the embodiment of artificial intelligence leadership. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, emphasized in his speech that the change of mentality by transformation, leadership, the stimulating anobolic to achieve great change in terms of industrialization, development, but also in terms of growth in Djibouti. The Secretary of State in charge of Social Affairs organized this morning a workshop for the launch of the Technical Committee for monitoring the evaluation of strategy for social protections in the People's Palace. Workshop was presiding by Secretary of State in charge of Social Affairs Mrs. Moumina Asman Aden, at the presence of the resident coordinator of the United Nations system and representative of the UNPDP and the commissioner of the static plan Mr. Amr Ali Said. This committee constitutes an efficacy for coordinating good governance in program planning and evaluation to achieve results. The development of this strategy showed that social protection is a priority for the government, as it's a privileged instrument of development policy. The Secretary of Social Affairs, Mrs. Muna, stressed the importance of this workshop to coordinating governance in program planning and evaluation to achieve results. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Army Forces, received this morning at the hotel officers Major General James Gregg, Commander of the HOA parked at Camp Lemonnier. General James Gregg took command of Joint Task Force Horn of Africa on June 4th, 2018, when a change of commander ceremony was held at Camp Lemonnier. During this meeting, the two generals were accompanied by their respective staff. This meeting with the Chief of the General Staff of the Armies was intended to discuss the cooperations between the two friendly forces and how to improve it further. The general also received this morning the presence of the General Tahir Ali Mohammed, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Brigadier General Regis Mr. Eric Guernez, Commander of the French forces stationed in Djibouti. Brigadier Regis is the current head of South Bilateral Cooperation Divisions of the French Armed Forces Staff. In introductions, the General wishes Brigadier Regis welcome to Djibouti. He recalled that it was a pleasure to receive him in Djibouti, a line of meeting and exchange. In his address, the General stressed that the Republic of Djibouti and France share long-standing close cooperation, fraternal relationship. General Zakaria stated that the ADF and the force of Djibouti maintain excellent relations and demonstrate close collaboration under the commander of Brigadier General Eric Guernez. And now let's move on continental news. Resumptions on the anti-Ebola campaign. For more details, let's follow this report.
Resumption of the anti-Ebola campaign in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Health workers involved in the fight against Ebola in the city of Beni in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have resumed their activities. Outreach operations were suspended for 2 days due to a rebel attack last weekend. The attack killed at least 18 people, including 14 civilians, by the Ugandan Allied Democratic Forces group. The WHO said effort to control Ebola should resume because the virus has spread to border area and Uganda faces an imminent threat. Health workers will now be able to continue immunizations and seek contact with people suspected of having Ebola. 100 people have died since the beginning of the epidemic in July.
Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you to follow us. Goodbye.